Hey, yo, welcome back. This is Tai Tai. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make the best possible template, the most versatile template that you could possibly make in any DAW. Let's hop in. Alright, so before we get into this, if y'all new here, go ahead, like, share, subscribe. Leave me some comments below. It really does help the channel out. But a lot of these engineers on YouTube are really pushing, trying to sell all these templates. And I get it. Make your money where you can. But I find a lot of times that artists are constantly searching for different templates for different sounds and this and that. And yes, you can find different sounds, but you're really just going to end up down a rabbit hole that really just kind of leads to nowhere. So a lot of times the simpler, the better. You want versatility. You want to be able to expand off of that because not one template is going to work for every artist. Not one template is going to work for every song. So there's definitely some areas that you need to maneuver around. And if you don't know necessarily what you're doing, you're just going to end up stuck. So I'm going to show you guys my go-to session template, and I really hope it helps. Let's go ahead and dive in and see what we're working with. All right, so this is what I got going on here. Nothing too crazy. The way I always go about it is up here in my beat section, I put a plug in for trim. That way I can just bring my volume down. You always want to be sitting at about -10 dB. And then if you're using auto tune, throw your auto key in there. I don't necessarily like to use it for BPM, but it'll get your key basically right every time. Now, that is my starting point. I have some things in here if I want to customize beats and stuff like that, I can, but that's the bare essentials of what you need. And then down here in my lead tracks, I got my auto tune. Then I got my Pro Q4 here, some roll off on the low end, a little dip for some muds, a little cut in the mids, some resonance, and then a little high shelf. You know, you don't have to get too crazy with this. You could literally just have it set up to where you got some roll off and a little bump, you know. Just something basic to start. It doesn't have to be too crazy. Then one thing that I do like to do, it's not necessarily a necessity, but I will do just a little bit of upward compression. If you're finding that your vocals are just a little thin, just a little bit of upward compression to bring them quieter parts up, make it sound really full before you even hit any type of standard compression. And then after that, just for a little analog flavor, basically almost stock settings for the McDSP analog channel, and this is the 202. Now with this one, you can do some roll off, which you're kind of already doing in your EQ, but it adds a feel to it. But with that being said, I got a couple synths here. I'll kind of show that in a minute. But I don't really have much on. Just a little bit of eighth, no quarter, and a little bit of plate, no room. And then going down in here to my ad libs, I'm running Auto-Tune Pro again, a different type of EQ. So a lot of times with my ad libs, I want to roll off a lot of low end, a lot of high end, and just kind of have it sitting behind the vocal. Now that will change. You know, sometimes you can just cut off the low end, keep your highs. And then a vocal writer just to kind of keep things in sync. But basically got the same thing going with my dubs. You know, I got things kind of just pre-routed. That way I can record, drag and drop, drag it to the left, drag it to the right, and everything's kind of sitting where it needs to be, and it makes mixing a whole lot easier. So then you can see here, so like I said, I got a little bit going on in my my lead vox, but realistically, the main necessity is auto-tune. Any of that other stuff is just a little bit extra, but I'd really like the way the analog channel sits with auto-tune. It kind of smooths everything out in a nice way. It's kind of a tip I picked up from Seth Firkins, R.I.P. Man, I love Future in general, but like his old stuff that was mixed by Seth is great. To me, it's some of his best material. But then you can see here, I have all of my leads routed to my lead Vox. I don't have a lot going on in the recording process because I need that versatility. So I typically run an 1176 into an LA2A. Classic trick, 1176, no more than 7 to 10 dB, so it can be slamming a little bit. And then I do like the way that the LA2A, anywhere from 3 to 5 later on, but even in tracking, if you're just getting a couple dB, just a little bit of control, and you'd be surprised how good that thing sounds. And that's all I got running while I'm tracking. But I do have things here that I can switch out. Say the LA2A is definitely known for adding color. So if I want something that's a little more transparent, I might bypass the LA2A and run the TubeTech. It's definitely a lot more transparent. You get that nice little crispy high end going on, and it's definitely a completely different feeling than an LA2A. But it's very, very, very simple, but I have certain things that I can just switch out. And then when it comes to actually mixing later, a lot of times I will turn on a Pro MB and just kind of control parts that are just kind of peeking out just a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, because you push it too hard, it ain't going to sound right. But everything else is kind of going to come in the mixing process. So if you're just worried about tracking vocals and getting it sent off to get mixed, bro, keep it simple. Run you a little bit of an EQ, roll off some lows, bump up the highs just a little bit, an 1176 into an LA2A, boom. You don't need nothing else. Keep it simple. A lot of times what people are actually searching for when they're buying all these templates is the effects that they got going on in these templates, because it makes it sound, it just really gives it that extra flavor. But I will show here real quick that I have this sauce folder. I got my delays, my reverbs, some modulation. This is where it gets a little more complex. But I'm not using this in tracking. But what I do is I have everything split off. So I got slap delay, 16th note, 16th note, 8th note, quarter, half, and then a delay throw. So all of these, I got my own sends. If I'm hearing something as I'm tracking and I want to throw it on, add a little bit of flavor, I can. It's very versatile. And then same with my reverbs. Studio, plate, room, hall, chamber, true verb, like just a nice variety. And if you can kind of get those set up, if y'all want me to make a video on how to set all of that up, definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll do that for you. But if you know how to create a send, you can do this. Basically, just set things up in a way that, say you want some studio, boom. Go ahead and click up here, studio. And then you add as much as you want, make it fit. It doesn't have to be preset to where everything that you use is going to sound like that. It's just going to be too much on everything. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video, make sure if you're making a template, I don't want to take money out of anybody's pocket. I want to succeed in this YouTube business the same as everybody else does, and even the ones that are. But I'm not trying to lie to people. I'm not trying to pad my pockets off of just lack of knowledge. You know what I mean? I'm here to spread knowledge. So if you can just get something that's controlling your vocals and really just cover those bases, that's the important part. All the effects and stuff you can create on your own and just run it as sends, time-based effects, all that. It can take things to another level. And then in modulation here, I got some different characteristics. I got doubler. These are two different types of chorus. I got a little bit of vibe here, which is kind of it's an interesting plugin, and I'll probably actually make a separate video about that. But it's just different things. If I want tone, this has got some like micro pitch shift and Formant and different things kind of mixed in with that. So, but that's kind of more of a mixing thing. So it's not necessarily needed, you know. And then even down here, if you want some parallel compression, I've been getting kind of more into mono parallel compression. So I might run that instead of my stereo, but I have both just in case. Sometimes I audition both. But like, it really comes back to what is that initial recording sounding like. If you can get a good recording straight out the box, if you send something that's poorly recorded or very well put together to the same mixing engineer, the one that's out the gate better is going to be a better mix every time. And it's also going to be easier for them to get it to that point. It's really not that complicated. Just keep it simple. A lot of times people just overcomplicate things, and it really, really doesn't have to be like that. It just doesn't. But yeah, basically, moral of the story, just keep things simple, bro. Quit buying all these templates. Quit putting your hard-earned money into people's pockets that aren't actually willing to teach you. You can make this with stock plugins. If you got the Waves bundle, you can do it with that. You can do it with anything you want. Keep it simple. And you know, as a lot of times, you can run an 1176 that'll damn near work on any type of vocal. And then just pick maybe 3 of your favorite secondary compressors to put after that, and you're going to be set every time. You may have to alternate back and forth a couple times and figure out for that song that you like, but the control is yours, and it doesn't put you in that box to where every time that your template isn't sounding right for that song, you're running out and buying another template. That is going to be an endless goose chase that, like, I don't want to be on, and I don't want to see anybody else on. So, yo, I hope this helps y'all. I know I didn't put any audio examples behind this today, but I've made plenty of other videos. You can hear the audio examples, and this is typically the route that I take every time. Not typically. It's every time. Like, it just works. And, you know, I got older videos out there where I was making more complex chains. And I sold a couple. It's cool, you know. But, like, as I have moved on and progressed myself, you know, simpler is better. Like, it's better. It's more malleable. It's just easier to work around. Say you want something to sound completely different. You don't have to wipe off 10 plugins to try to get that sound to where you want it to be. If you're starting simple, you can go in almost any direction that you want to go. But remember that. Keep it simple. Catch y'all next week. Peace.